It's raining in Milwaukee, but not to fear. We have a roof on Miller Park. It's Game 2 of a 4-game series between the Padres and Brewers, and it's next on Fox Sports San Diego. Melvin Upton Jr. getting ready for Game 2 of the series. The Padres are riding a 3-game winning streak. It's the longest of the year. They'll try to make it 4 in a row tonight from Milwaukee. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo along with Mark Sweeney. We welcome you to Padres baseball. Well, tonight, with all the injuries going on with the Padres and now the rotation seriously affected as Andrew Cashner goes on the DL tonight, the Padres adding Christian Friedrich, who's on the hill tonight. It'll be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah, you think about injuries, those are opportunities, and Christian Friedrich has to try to pitch deeper in the ball game. You look at his arsenal, a lot of fastballs, but the secondary stuff is really going to come into play. Hopefully he can get deep in the ball game, give this team an opportunity to continue their win streak.
Well, the Padres last night outstanding in the game, and one of the more outstanding parts of last night's game was the end. Ryan Buchter coming on to get the save.
Well, with Fernando Rodney having 2 consecutive saves on one day, the previous day, Ryan Buchter checks another box in his career. Outstanding effort. He earned this opportunity, and last night you saw the fastball come into play. He has been lights out for this bullpen and getting his first career save. What a great moment for his career, but this has been special in a Padre uniform.
With the night off last night, Fernando Rodney will be back and available tonight at the end of the game if they need him. It's the Padres and Brewers. So many injuries right now for the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Diego Padres. Last night, the Padres may have dodged a bullet. We'll come back and find out about Derek Norris from Julie Alexandria after this.
Park, a very scary moment for catcher Derek Norris during yesterday's game when he left after the second inning after taking a pitch off his hand. Andy Green gave us the update after the game.
Temperatures are negative, so that's a good sign. The hand is definitely swollen. He took it about as flush as you can possibly take it. Got hit pretty square, so kind of wait and see. Wakes up tomorrow, I'll have a better understanding where he is. I think we'll probably try to get him a few more tests to make sure there's nothing broken in there as hard as it hit him. So I don't think many people take a 96-mile-an-hour fastball in the hand and are ready to go the next day. But if anybody is, it's him, because he's as tough as they come.
Derek Norris obviously not in the lineup today, but Andy Green says he is available to pinch hit should the opportunity arise, and he hopes that he won't be out for more than a few days. So good news there. We wish him well. And coming up, Padres taking on the Brewers for Game 2 in just a moment.
And it's time to pick the stick, brought to you by Saquon. And tonight, it's a Christian Bethancourt.
Yeah, now that's a pretty good pick, and he has been swinging the bat very well. Mark Grant goes with Ramirez. Mike Pomerantz takes Matt Kemp. I'm going to go with John Jay again. I think the familiarity of this division comes into play. And Julia Alexandria takes Melvin Upton Jr., who had the big home run last night.
Let's check out the lineup for Andy Green. The Padres lineup is brought to you by Toyota. As leading it off in center field, John Jay with Alexei Ramirez at short, Matt Kemp in right, Brett Wallace at first base, Melvin Upton in left with Christian Bethancourt doing the catching. Jose Perella at second base, Adam Rosales is at third, and Christian Friedrich is on the mound and batting out of the 9th spot for the Padres.
Our scouting report is brought to you by UC San Diego and Health. See the 3-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider, and split. It's almost a slurve, and you'll see that. Patience for the Padres. None of the Padres have faced Junior Guerra. Be interesting to see what they do and how they attack him, especially early in this game.
John Jay leading it off and taking strike one. We're underway. Jay with a .281 average coming into tonight's game. A home run, 14 runs batted in. It's Jay, Ramirez, and Kemp. And a grounder to first base. Carter, a bobble. He's got a flip. Now he's going to take it himself, and it's going to be late. Should have flipped. Elected not to, and Jay beats it out. Not a good play by Chris Carter down there at first base.
Well, very nonchalant down there at first. He doesn't glove it. Then you got to slow yourself down, and typically when it's on the ground, you pick it up barehanded. He had no idea what to do, to the benefit of the Padres.
And the pitcher is standing right on the bag. All he had to do was flip it to him and elected not to. So a couple of bad decisions lead to an error. Here are the umpires for tonight. Laz Diaz has a plate. Manny Gonzalez at first base. Ben May at second. And Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, the umpire at third. So lead runner on here for the Padres to begin things in the first inning. And here's Alexei Ramirez. Sliding up in the order as Will Myers has the night off, at least to begin the game, and hasn't had many of those.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good move, especially after the big win last night. They continue to pitch, but it looked to me like Will Myers needed that day of rest, and I think that's part of managing in Andy Green's style. Give these guys a rest when he can.
Ramirez jolts it foul down the right field line. We were talking about it last night. He played both ends of the day-night doubleheader at first base, and it seemed like a lot of guys were tired coming out of that last night.
It takes a while to get that mode, and Will Myers has been excellent both at first base and also hitting, but taking a little bit breather. But you know he's probably going to be inserted in this game at one point.
Available off the bench tonight. 1-1 count here to Alexei Ramirez, who slides up into that 2 spot and fouls it off to the right out of play.
You see with Junior Guerra, you're going to get a lot of fastballs. He tries to get ahead to get to that split finger. Matt Kemp on the on-deck circle. These Padres are going to hunt that fastball because they don't want to get to that split finger.
Andy Green's Padres have won 3 straight heading into tonight's action. Throw over to first, and back is Jay. So the wins starting to pile up here for Andy Green, and so are the injuries and the disabled list on a staggering rate. It seems like it's a daily occurrence right now.
Leg injuries all throughout this roster.
Ramirez fouls it off at the plate. As Julie Alexandria just told us, certainly good news. It looks like they dodged a bullet on Derek Norris, because quite honestly, we saw it happen last night. It did not look good at all.
Yeah, mid-90s fastball off the hand is not going to feel good, and obviously they got good indications through those first set of x-rays.
Good size lead at first base for Jay. Ramirez battling down 1-2. Reaches out and hits it in the air to right field. Santana backpedaling. He's got room, and he makes the catch out there for the first out. Guns it in the air to second base. And there's one down here in the inning. The Brewers defensively brought to you by Renovation Realty. Behind their pitcher Javier Guerra, it is Ryan Braun in left, Ramon Flores in center. Domingo Santana just made that catch. Third to first, Hernan Perez, Jonathan Villar, Aaron Hill, Chris Carter has been charged with an error already, and Jonathan Lucroy doing the catching for Javier Guerra. One out, Jay at first, and here's Matt Kemp. Deep in the box on the right side is Kemp. Thought about it, but takes the strike, couldn't pull the trigger right at the bottom of the zone.
You're also going to see a slider by Junior Guerra. A lot of his sliders on video have backed up a little bit, so it's going to be interesting, especially those right-handers will come in on that middle in. See if these big hitters for the Padres can capitalize on those mistakes.
And a no decision last time out against Cincinnati. Working on Sunday. Swing and a miss, gets that one by him at 93.
Early in this ball game already, Guerra has been very aggressive with the fastball, but he's also missed location. You watch that glove of Jonathan Lucroy.
Right-hander claimed off waivers back in October. This is to left field on a line. Braun coming in to make the catch below the cap high. 2 outs in the inning. Let's check in with Julie.
Hey guys, well, a lot of roster moves going on today for the Padres. They decided to designate Jabari Blash in order to make room for backup catcher Hector Sanchez, also putting Andrew Cashner on the 15-day DL that's retroactive to last Monday, and also calling up Christian Friedrich, who we're seeing starting today in order for that to happen.
Well, Julie, thank you very much. Andrew Cashner, I guess we had a feeling, we were talking about it last night, you get 3 or 4 days out from that last start and you're still experiencing the cramping in the hamstrings, more along the lines of a strain, and that's exactly what turned out.
Well, so many leg injuries that we've discussed, but you think about Andrew Cashner, this is something you want to definitely take care of right now, and I think that's the philosophy for the Padres, where if he took the ball getting further injured and losing more time, it's probably not the right thing to do.
And listening to Andy Green, he really wanted not to go on the disabled list and try to pitch his way through it. But Andy Green really kind of took it out of his hands.
That's what you want from the right-hander. You know, Andrew Cashner wants to take the ball because the starting pitching has done an excellent job. The pitching staff as a whole have done a tremendous job as of late. So Andy, you see the disabled list.
You're talking about your ace. You're talking about your number 2 starter. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
This list is just growing. 2 down. Jay at first base. Good sized lead. And a check on him. Brett Wallace at the plate. Now, part of that kind of lost in all that is Jabari Blash, who had such a great spring training. Really had very few at bats, few and far between, and just didn't work out.
Well, I think they would like to keep him, and they have to get him through waivers and work out a trade with the Seattle Mariners, and that'll be interesting if they can do that. This is probably a better time to get him through waivers. But you think about how they're comprised. Outfield has done a tremendous job. Melvin Upton Jr., obviously John Jay, and Matt Kemp, but you also have Jankowski out there, the coverage in the minor leagues. So I think that's the move when you have to make all these roster decisions. Probably the best move they can do.
But as Andy said, and you echoed the same sentiments, they would love to have him stay within the organization if it works out.
Yeah, it's a bat that you have to develop. Obviously, it's hard to develop at the big league level. 2 for 14 off the bench for Jabari Blash. It's a very difficult job.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Brett Wallace. That's with 2 down. John Jay at first base.
You think about that, Don, and not getting a start in a doubleheader for Jabari Blash.
Yep.
You know that's where you have to try to get some at bats, and they couldn't do it. Travis Jankowski gets the start in the day game, and then you have an outfield that has to play out there, and they're producing.
Runner goes at first, and Jay. The pitch is outside, and standing up at second base is Jay. Easily stealing that base, and no throw from Lucroy.
Well, you see the big leg kick. Easily John Jay cruising into second base.
And they scampered to third because nobody was covering there. He could have hopped up and kept on going like we saw Alexei Ramirez do.
See if he goes to the split.
Ball 4 misses away. So down to first base goes Wallace on a walk, and it comes with 2 outs. Lucroy going out there to talk to Junior Guerra. Well, here comes Melvin Upton Jr. and his home run gave the Padres some breathing room last night. Made it 3-0. Blast to left center field. Home run number 4 of the year for Melvin Upton Jr. Well, a chance to do some damage here in the first inning. Long conversation, Lucroy and Guerra. There are the numbers, 267 to go along with those 4 home runs, 14 runs driven in. Junior Guerra 1-0, 6.00 ERA, third start from the stretch here. And a grounder down the third baseline. Perez's throw is in time, and Guerra gets out of the jam. Padres strand a pair. The Brewers are coming up. We come back to Milwaukee. Baseball brought to you by Infinity. Visit your local San Diego area Infinity retailer for a test drive today. By Petco, your complete pet store. By your San Diego County Lexus dealers. And by the Sony Alpha 7R2, Popular Photography's 2015 Camera of the Year. Back in Milwaukee, and it's time for this timeless moment brought to you by Coors Banquet. Now, right now, the longest scoring innings pitch streak, scoreless innings pitch streak. Padres, third in that category, 23 consecutive innings. Dodgers and Phillies ahead right now. And Andy Green's pitching has been terrific. We saw James Shields in last night's game, and get our first look at Christian Friedrich tonight. Lefty deals, and his first pitch in there for a strike to Domingo Santana. 242, 3 homers, 12 runs batted in for Santana. And remember, Friedrich last year as a member of the Colorado Rockies to the tune of 68 relief appearances a year ago. Broken bat liner that's going to fall into left for a base hit. Santana is aboard to begin things in the bottom of the first inning. Let's check the rest of the Milwaukee Brewers starting 9, brought to you by Hyundai. We saw Domingo Santana. He's the right fielder. Jonathan Villar at shortstop with Ryan Braun in left field. Jonathan Lucroy doing the catching with Chris Carter at first base. It's Aaron Hill at second base. Hernan Perez at third. Ramon Flores in center. And Junior Guerra, the pitcher, bats ninth.
Scotty report on Christian Friedrich. Last time out, his start in El Paso was 4 2/3 inning, and wonder if it's a pitch limit. He threw 92 pitches last time out. He's got a pitch to contact. You saw the weak contact on that single to left field by Santana.
Villar showing bunt, didn't offer, and a pitch that was tailing away. Shortstop for the Brewers in his 34th game of the year at 277. Outfield straight away as Brett Wallace holds on Domingo Santana at first base. Squaring again and pulling it back this time.
Think about what James Shields did for this staff last night, pitching 7 solid innings. Only using 3 pitchers last night. But for Christian Friedrich, even with that doubleheader 2 days ago, you're going to have to try to pitch as deep as you can in this game as well.
Love the Friday night jerseys throwback here for the Brewers.
Old school. You got to love that. See Ryan Braun is on the on deck circle.
How good has he been?
An outstanding. Their best player.
376 average coming into tonight's game. There's ball 4. Hit and a walk. So the first 2 have reached, and here's more on the Padres pitching in their scoreless streak. 23 consecutive innings, longest streak since 2010 when they had 26. 4 more scoreless innings pitched tonight. It will become the longest streak since '88. 40 innings set in '84. It's in jeopardy right now as Christian Friedrich has given up a hit and a walk. First 2 have reached, and here's Ryan Braun. 376, 7 homers, 27 runs batted in, and Padres pitching kept him in check last night in some key situations.
Yeah, that was huge too, because he came off hitting 400 on the recent 7-game road trip.
Strike 1.
They were very successful. The Padres were of pitching Ryan Braun last night with James Shields' outstanding changeup. Came into play, and then also playing the defense behind James Shields.
Shields finally getting some run support, even though it was only the 3 runs. Still a little breathing room. He's not used to that. Under foul outside of third, and Braun's down 0-2.
You think about the hot zones for every hitter, especially the middle of the order bats, and Ryan Braun likes the ball elevated. Tried to work him down, and especially down and in has been that weak zone, especially against the Padres.
Two on, nobody out. Friedrich ahead of Braun, 0-2. Bounces in, and Lucroy able to, or rather Bethancourt to his left, able to grab that. Bethancourt came into the game, of course, after Norris was hit in the hand last night, and gets a start here, getting a chance to see more regular at bats. And the more you see him hit, the more you like Christian Bethancourt.
Oh, he's been swinging the bat so well, and I think he's been much improved behind the plate, which is priority number 1.
Huge batter right here for Friedrich in the beginning of his outing.
See if he goes to that slider down and in. Try to induce that weaker contact with Adam Rosales down at third base. Got to be heads up.
Full count. Adam 0-2, and now it's 3-2. On deck, Jonathan Lucroy. Brewers batting here in the bottom of the first inning. First 2 have reached without an out. On with that hefty 376 average coming in. Jammed and sends it down the right field line. Will make its way foul into the seats.
I think Ryan Braun was sitting on the breaking ball there. He was a little late on the fastball. Might have some of the thought process of how he was pitched last night.
Pretty good Friday night crowd here tonight. I'm expecting big crowds over the weekend. Payoff pitch. Braun hits it in the air to right field. Down the line towards the corner. Kemp is over into that corner, and he'll make the catch on the track. Everybody tagging. Throw going to second base. It'll be late. And it's second and third now for Milwaukee, but Braun retired. Sent it a long way to right, and onto the dirt of the track went Kemp for out number 1. Let's check out the Padres defensively in this game. It's Upton in left, Jay in center, Kemp in right. Third to first around the infield, Adam Rosales, Alexei Ramirez, Jose Perella, and Brett Wallace, with Christian Bethancourt doing the catching for Christian Friedrich, and Darren Balsley, the pitching coach, out there to talk to him as runners are now at second and third. Padres defense brought to you by your San Diego County Ford dealers.
Yeah, with Will Myers getting a little bit of a breather. Brett Wallace moves from third base to first base tonight. So Brett Wallace with the big 3-run home run in Chicago in the first game, getting extended at bats.
.302, 3 homers, 13 runs batted in for Lucroy. Brewers coming in having lost their last 2 straight games. Ball 1. A pretty tight strike zone so far for Laz Diaz.
Well, Andy Green had the infield in last night in the first inning. You can almost see Jonathan Lucroy surveying the land before that pitch was even thrown. RBI situation. You want to work the middle of the field here.
Two and 0. Fastball high. Outfield straight away right now for the Padres. With Santana at third, VR at second, 1 down. Lucroy in a pretty good spot here, ahead 2-0.
Yeah, he's losing it on that arm side. Especially, you can see him not getting on top of that baseball, and Andy Green seems a little frustrated the way his Christian Friedrich has attacked early in this game.
Green light and a foul off to the right out of play. The pitcher was up. Lucroy getting that green light.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising to me because Christian Friedrich doesn't look comfortable with his command, especially with that fastball. And you have Carter who can change a game with 1 swing on deck.
Santana at third, Villard second, 1 out. The Brewers' first inning. Ball 4, and he loses him. Second walk of his first inning allowed by Friedrich. Loads him up now for Milwaukee.
Well, Christian Friedrich came into the big league opportunity with the Colorado Rockies as a starter. Really pitched his way into the bullpen. Extensively out of the bullpen last year, and you're wondering where he is mentally coming into this start.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Chris Carter, 248 already into double figures in home runs with 10, along with 22 RBIs. In the air to center field. Jay making his way in. See if he's going to try it at third base. Santana, catch made. Here comes Santana. Throw cut off. Throw to third is going to be in time. The run will count. A run got in before the throw out at third base. And we'll see if they're going to challenge this or not. But crossing the plate is Santana from third base on the sac fly, ahead of the put out at third, and we'll take a look.
Well, the cut by Brett Wallace, and you see him throwing to third base. Let's see if he gets him before he gets into the bag, and yes, he does. Good call by the crew chief, Nelson.
So a sac fly. Brewers take a 1-0 lead.
Well, as long as Derek Norris is out with that hand contusion, Andy Green says that Christian Bethancourt will get the start behind the dish. And of course, they just claimed off of waivers from the White Sox Hector Sanchez. He's a switch hitting catcher. And of course, he will get some starts as well, giving them a little bit of liberty when it comes to Christian Bethancourt. Andy Green likes his bat. He took some ground balls at third yesterday and also some fly balls in left. So he likes the fact that he can use him off the bench as a bat, giving him a little bit of leeway, but really hoping that Derek Norris will be able to make his return very soon, guys.
All right, thanks very much, Julie. Norris with that wrapped hand.
Yeah, he had some interesting contraption on that left hand, and that's really good news that the x-rays came back negative. And talking about Christian Bethancourt, Andy Green just raves about his athleticism. That's the reason why you saw him with ground balls and fly balls in the outfield.
Foul backhand out of play. They're trying to find any way they can to get his bat in the lineup.
Well, he hit a monster home run off of John Lackey the other day. He's really done a nice job, and I've been pleasantly surprised.
It's a short VR on to first, sidearmed, and he kind of slung it over there, but this play by Carter kept the foot in the bag for out number one.
Time now for the keys to the game, brought to you by San Diego Honda dealers. Offensive outburst, they need that tonight, especially top to bottom of the lineup, and also solid defense. We've seen some big double plays last night. Solid defense behind this excellent pitching of the Padres.
Jose Pirela bats with one out here in the second inning. Padres trailing by a run.
Yeah, this offense needs to put up some crooked numbers. They need a game like that to gain a little bit of confidence. They've been grinding. Obviously, winning 3 in a row helps, but you want to have that outburst once in a while.
Yeah, they really haven't had one of those. You think about it. Some tight games, and in the last couple of days, just a couple of runs, but getting it done. The pitching's been so good. Bounce in, and it's 2-1.
I think Alan Zinter, the hitting coach, and also Andy Green would love to see that outburst, especially when you're having pitching problems. It just makes it a lot easier to manage the game. There's Alan Zinter. Really put a lot of time into their craft.
Swing and a miss for Pirela as he goes lunging after that 94-mile-an-hour fastball. The average under 200 right now for Pirela, 190. Saw a lot of Pirela in the outfield during spring training, and he strikes out here. First strikeout of the day for Garrett, 2 down in the second inning.
Well, it looked like a split finger, actually a slider that came out. You see Jonathan Lucroy catching that awkwardly.
2 down for Adam Rosales, playing at third base tonight and hitting at 179, 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. Brewers coming in at 14-21. They are 12 games back of the Cubs in the National League Central. Here at Miller Park, 8-10 on the year for Craig Counsell. One and two. Fastball has been good and consistently at 94.
Yeah, it looks like he has carry in that strike zone. Get behind that fastball, and then that split comes off of that fastball.
Difficult to tell the difference rotation wise.
Yeah, because they throw it, and sometimes if it's a bad split finger, it tumbles, which is a lot easier for the hitter to pick that up. But when thrown correctly, it just jumps out of the hands and then drops.
Brewers with a run in the bottom of the first have a 1-0 lead, and Guerra with 2 quick outs here in the second inning. Full count now to Adam Rosales. And that's ball 4. Low, and Rosales down to first base with a 2-out walk. Second walk allowed by Guerra.
Well, it turns the order around, which was a huge at bat for Rosales. Behind early in that count, working a walk.
Always careful with the 8-man. You know you got the 9-man and the pitcher coming up, and that's exactly what he's got here. Christian Friedrich batting for the first time in a Padres uniform. Originally a first-round pick by the Rockies, 25th overall in 2008. Ball and a strike. Signed by the Padres to a minor league contract this spring, March the 3rd to be exact. Been designated for assignment by the Rockies before the start of spring training. And he swings and lines out to the first baseman, Chris Carter. Inning and a half done from Miller Park in Milwaukee. The Brewers have a 1-0 lead. All right, Mike, thanks very much. As Aaron Hill leads it off here for the Brewers. Last night playing at third base. Back to his more familiar second base. Hill at 248, 4 homers, 17 runs batted in. 35th game that he's been a part of. Important to get through that first inning with minimal damage for Friedrich. Giving up just the 1 run. Of course, the out at third base was huge, and they barely got that run in. This is laced foul. He's 28, 6'4", 215 pounds. Mentioned first-round draft pick back in 08. Made his debut against the Padres, ironically, a 6-2 win. A minor league deal back in March after he'd been DFA'd by the Rockies. Lake Elsinore and then to El Paso before coming up. And here he is.
A pretty strange thing that happened with Christian Friedrich. He was claimed by the Angels. Angels had a medical concern about him, and they sent him back to the Colorado Rockies. Rockies ended up releasing him after that. So the Padres hopefully have something in the left arm of Christian Friedrich. You look at the big left-hander and you think about deception from especially the left-handers and what they have. He's got the 4-pitch mix, but you look for that, and that glove coming over, and you wonder if that's what hitters pick up. But everything is all about location when it comes down to that.
Hill and Perez and Flores. 6, 7, and 8 here expected from Milwaukee in the second inning. Doing 92 pitches in his last outing, so Andy Green figuring that he can go a full 100 in tonight's game if necessary. It's a grounder with a shift on to Ramirez. First out here at the bottom of the second inning.
Well, the Padres have played that solid defense, and the defensive shifts have really stuck out, especially on that last homestand, and now continuing with the really good pitching. That's what Andy Green loves to see. His coaching staff puts so much time into those defensive charts, and they have benefited from it.
One out here in the second. Hernan Perez, third baseman. Goes the other way. Kemp will make his way in. 2 down. So Perez pretty aggressive there against Friedrich and helping out. 2 down. Ramon Flores coming up. Did not appear in last night's game and starts in center field for Craig Counsell here in game 2. Strike 1. Swing and a miss. Fastball by him had some late life.
Yeah, Christian Friedrich looks very comfortable on that glove side with the fastball. Lost some pitches on the arm side just a little bit, elevated it. See if he goes back to that. The fastball away. Looks like a curveball.
Late swing and a foul beyond the Padres dugout, third base way, and a hot shot. Play for him to go the other way. Jay into left center. Trying to figure out what they want to do here. Bethancourt reeling off a series of signs, and Friedrich Not agreeing with any of it. So try it again.
He wants the slider. Christian Bethencourt is putting the sign down, and he's asking for it down, but I think Christian Friedrich wants to do something different.
First time, obviously, that these guys have had a chance to work together at this level this year.
Asking for it down.
2-2. Flores is center fielder with the Brewers pitcher waiting on deck. Guerra. 2 outs in the Brewers' second inning. Reaches out and pokes it back to the mound. Friedrich off the side of the mound with a good throw that ends the inning. James Shields is going to be joining us when we come back. 1-0 Milwaukee through 2. Back at Miller Park, roof closed, raining outside, and it's a good thing we got the roof here tonight for game 2 of the series. 1-0 Brewers on top as we play along to the third. James Shields joins us from the dugout. And James, how you doing?
Not too bad. Just enjoying this nice seat in the dugout right now.
It's a pretty good seat right there at the end of the dugout.
Yeah.
A great
good
seat.
view. Good view.
Great seat for you last night too. Another great outing for you. Had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I felt good. You know, I think my mechanics were really good last night. You know, we worked on it in the bullpen session a couple days ago in Chicago, and you know, it translated good into the game.
James, against the Mets, you had the curveball work, and last night the changeup was outstanding. How'd you feel with that pitch?
Yeah, I mean, my changeup's been struggling. I mean, for a long time actually. I haven't really had it all season long. You know, and like I said, just a mechanical adjustment, real simple, nothing crazy. You know, and I was really going north to south with the changeup last night.
That's amazing, man. That's a pitch you've had for a long time, and we were talking to Joe Madden the other day about it. And, a pitch you can throw for a strike at any time. It seems like it's amazing how it can come and go, though.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how long you've been pitching this game, I mean, some games you're not going to have your stuff, and some games you are, man.
It's John Jay who leads it off here in the third inning. James Shields kind enough to join us from the dugout. And I'm curious your thoughts about the last couple of days. Been a lot of fun. Padres putting it together here.
Yeah, we are. We're pitching really well right now. We're playing some good baseball, good defense, really. You know, and it's good to see from these guys. Sit down.
Liner to right, and that's going to get down for John Jay, who's on for the second time tonight.
Well, perfect timing, James. And you think about John Jay and what he has meant to this club. Your impressions of the former Cardinal coming over here, especially his defensive play and leadoff ability.
Yeah, I mean, John Jay is about as professional as it gets. He's a good teammate, good clubhouse guy. You know, his approach to the plate, you know, is tremendous, and he's a good asset to our team. I mean, you know, obviously his defense, you know, shows every day, day in and day out. But you know, inside the clubhouse is where he really impresses me.
Well, the bullpen has been so good too, and I want to ask you about the overall thoughts you have about the entire pitching staff.
Yeah, I mean, the bullpen's been phenomenal. You know, they're really coming into their own. You know, and those guys are thriving down there. And I think a lot of that has to do with the starting pitching going a lot deeper in the games. I mean, you know, I don't care how good of a bullpen you have. If you're wearing those guys out down there, they're not gonna do what they're capable of doing. And as long as the starters go deep, those guys are going to be good down there.
Jay at first base, Alexei Ramirez batting.
Well, James, in talking with that, the importance of that start last night, I know you don't want to talk about yourself, but because of the 2 games in Chicago with the 2 wins, you knew it was on your shoulders last night to go deep in that game. How did you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too much, too crazy. You know, I think, you know, Colin Ray, you know, he ended up going 6, and Pomeranz ended up going 6. So we ended up, you know, throwing a few innings in that doubleheader. But anytime you have a doubleheader, you're going to wear your bullpen out a little bit. So I knew I had to go deeper in the game.
Well, right now, Padres dropping like flies. You take a look at your left and right, and it's unbelievable the injuries on this team right now. And Cashner going on the DL tonight, and it's just amazing right now.
Yeah, we were talking about that in the clubhouse. You know, the fact that we have so many different guys coming in and out, but yet we're still winning ball games as of late. You know, so that's a good sign. I mean, these guys coming up are impacting our team, and you know, we're not letting that phase us. So hopefully, all these guys get back all at once, and we'll get on from there.
James, is it the mentality of trying to win series? Because you guys have done a tremendous job as a club, even with these injuries. Winning series and continuing to probably build your identity is something that I'd probably throw it to. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's our main goal, is to win series. I mean, we're not going to look too far ahead. I mean, we just got to win series, you know, everywhere we go. Obviously, the Chicago series was huge. You know, our whole homestand was huge this last homestand. And
heads up.
And yeah. We definitely that's our main goal every single night, or every single series, just to win the series. I mean, if we can sweep, that's great, but if we can win the series, we're going to step in the right direction.
Well, James, it's been a lot of fun watching you so far this year. You've been terrific this season, and we thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it.
James Shields from the dugout, best seat in the house right now.
He almost took one off the lips.
I thought that one was headed towards him. 2-2 is fouled off to the right. We would be responsible, right?
Yeah.
If he gets hit,
that's
while
not
he's
good.
on the air with Fox Sports San Diego.
Yep. We'd apologize and probably not ever have him do it again.
The last thing we need is to add to the DL and it to be our fault.
You know, it's one of those things you don't want to come to the field and talk about it or think about injuries, because you just want to play. And it's happening. Seems to be an epidemic around the Padres with these leg injuries.
To short, could be 2. VR to second for 1, on to first in a hurry, and it's in time. Double play.
John Jay got caught in no man's land because it went off this bat. You were wondering if it was going to be lined. And he gets jammed a little bit, inducing that double play, but John Jay was stuck in the middle. Here's the swing of Ramirez. It looked like it was going to be a line drive to VR. A nice turn by the Brewers.
2 down for Matt Kemp, lined out to left field, first time up. It's a fly ball this time out towards shallow center. Flores a race in, and there in plenty of time. Padres gone on the top of the 3rd. Milwaukee on top 1-0. Over the Padres, we get ready for the last of the third inning. Greater coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. Well, Matt Bush, a former first-round draft choice of the Padres, selected from Frisco AA to big leagues in Texas. He's back in the big leagues, and Jose Reyes found out his situation today, suspended without pay through May the 31st. It was kind of open-ended for a long time, and Lance McCullers activated from the 15-day DL for the Houston Astros.
Well, Matt Bush, what a story. Started with the Padre organization, as you said, Don, as a shortstop. Had all kinds of off-field problems, and now he's pitching with the Texas Rangers. Pretty good story.
Friedrich back on the hill, and it's Junior Guerra, the opposing pitcher he deals with, batting out of the 9 spot. Guerra 0 for 4 so far in the season. He leads it off, then Santana and VR.
Well, I haven't seen Guerra swing that much. Obviously the foul ball on the first pitch, but was signed as a third baseman, then became a pitcher, so you'd think athletically can swing the bat.
On the ground up the middle, and there you go, on cue. You were on it, Mark Sweeney.
Well, it's good to be right once in a while.
They sit right back up the middle.
You see the fastball, and pretty good swing. His first hit as a Brewer.
So on to help out his own cause and to begin this bottom of the third inning. Back up top for Domingo Santana. Santana with a single in the first inning has scored the game's only run, and a swing and a miss. Up and away, and it's 1-1. Friedrich fresh off a 1-2-3 second inning, dealing with Hill, Perez, and Flores. 2 ground outs and a fly out. 12 pitches got through the second inning. Now a little flare to right. Kent coming in, and it's going to fall. Up the second base goes Guerra. Back-to-back hits for the Brewers open up the bottom of the third inning.
Second hit of the night for Santana, and both have been jam shots. One to left and this one to right field. Tried to pull that baseball.
Friedrich had this happen in the first inning. It was a hit and a walk that time, but the first 2 reached. Got out of it, giving up the 1 run. Now we'll see what happens as we get into the heart of this order. Jonathan VR bats, and he had that first inning walk.
Yeah, VR took a long look down at Ed Cedar, the third base coach, wondering if the bunt will be on here. The Padres in on the corners, defending that bunt possibility.
Familiar face as the bench coach, Craig Counsell, huh?
Yeah, Pat Murphy, who coached at the University of Notre Dame. He coached Craig Counsell. That's the chemistry they had previously, but you see him going from the Padres to bench coach of the Milwaukee Brewers.
Was showing bunt, took it. What was he like to be around last year?
Well, he was energetic, but I think it was just one of those cases where they made the change. Pat Murphy came over from AAA and had to try to identify himself in a clubhouse where the team just struggled. So I don't think it was really a great situation for him, but obviously things turned out well for him coming here to Milwaukee and being a bench coach.
Bunt down the third baseline. Friedrich off the mound. His throw is going to be in time. Nice play. Sacrifice complete as Guerra takes third. Santana second with 1 out. It's almost bunting like he was bunting for a hit there.
Well, Friedrich falling off to that right side, which was the benefit, but nice play and an accurate throw to Wallace. You wonder with that bunt and the base open, and Ryan Braun, see him against the last time, peppering that fastball so he can work to the slider down and in, which gave Braun problems. You can see just working the fastball elevated and then fouling it off, going to right field where both runners tagged on that. But this is an easy situation for the Padres, walking one of the hottest hitters on the Brewers club.
There's one guy in this lineup you're not going to let beat you. It's this guy.
Well, you wonder with VR bunting on his own. That was a base hit bunt. Easy decision for Andy Green and his staff.
Takes the bat right out of the hands of Braun. Coming into the game hitting at 376, and he'll head down to first base. Take their chances with Jonathan Lucroy, the first meeting Bethencourt and Friedrich. Lucroy reached on a base on balls in the first inning. Total of 3 walks given up now by Friedrich. This was the first of the intentional variety. Guy who has 3 grand slams in his career and a .355 average.
He's also hit into 2 double plays as well, and Friedrich has to work in the bottom part of the strike zone to try to induce that ground ball.
Strike 1, and it is at the bottom of the zone. Lucroy didn't like it.
Hits by direction for Jonathan Lucroy. You see the higher percentage into left center. So the reason Ryu will probably defend that direction.
Popped up foul, backing out of play, and Friedrich has jumped ahead 0-2.
You see the defenders, and John Jay, especially with 2 strikes, is over on that side. That puts the precedence over here where Melvin Upton Jr. has to handle that left center gap, and he has done a fabulous job doing that.
They really got a center fielder playing left field, and some of these big yards, it really comes in handy. Bases filled with Brewers with 1 out. Here's an 0-2 pitch. Inside, almost hit him. Trying to come in 0-2 and almost came too far in.
It looked like Bethencourt wanted that down in the strike zone. That was almost a cutter action.
Lucroy fouls it off. Breaking ball, and it hangs at 1-2. Well, started with a single by the pitcher from Milwaukee, Guerra, with a single to center. Santana followed it up with a single to right. Sacrifice bunt for Jonathan VR. And then the intentional walk of Ryan Braun. So bases loaded, 1 out for Milwaukee in their half of the 3rd inning. Lucroy on the ground towards third base. Rosales is coming home. Out there. Yes, able to hold on to the baseball. The force out at the plate. Bethencourt looked like he had a little trouble holding on to that in his glove, but he secures it before the arrival of Guerra for the 2nd out.
Well, really the only play that Adam Rosales had, because Jonathan Lucroy gets jammed. You see him almost on the swinging bunt, and the only play is to home. Christian Bethencourt, you see handling that out almost as a first baseman. That's a big out for the Padres.
Bases reloaded, 2 down in the inning, and here's Chris Carter. And a sac fly in the first inning, picked up his 23rd RBI. Two outs and runners in scoring position has not been good for him. 1 for 14. Two and 0. Santana, Braun, and Lucroy on the bases right now for Milwaukee. 2 outs in the inning. Carter hits it on the ground foul. That was down, the other 2 away. Meanwhile, Friedrich throwing a lot of pitches. Next pitch would be the 55th of his outing.
Taking a lot of time in between pitches as well. See 3 on the left side.
Straight back, he was on it, but fouls it off. Friedrich battling back. A long inning. Next pitch will be the 23rd as he's in the midst of a meeting with himself behind the mound. Two. Swing and a miss. Friedrich gets Carter, and the bases are left loaded. Well, a couple of key plays here to end this inning. Rosales comes home. Carter strikes out. Keeps it a 1-0 Brewers lead.
For Ram Truck's tools of the trade, and it focuses on the base running of the San Diego Padres last night. Melvin Upton Jr. with Christian Bethencourt's line drive to right field advances to third base and creating an opportunity for Ramirez. Short fly ball to left field and scoring the second run of the Padres' 3-0 victory last night.
Neil Bad second in this top of the 4th inning. Brett Wallace leads it off. Walked in the first inning, 1 of 2 walks given up by Junior Guerra. Foul down the line, and it's ball and a strike to Brett Wallace, getting the start at first base, giving Will Myers the beginning of the game off. Brewers getting the only run of the game in the first inning. Sac fly for Chris Carter. Carter just striking out, the bases loaded, and unable to add to it. I think a big play, though, was taking the bat out of the hands.
Oh, that was huge.
Ryan Braun.
Yeah, Jonathan VR laying down a bunt, and it seemed like it was on his own. It was a bunt for a hit. Did act as a sacrifice. But with that base open, that's an easy decision, and then they got out of it without any runs. You want him in a situation where you can drive runs in, and you're in scoring position at first base with Ryan Braun.
Big shift on here for the Brewers, and we are in here to talk to the pitcher. Long conversation. It's not over yet.
Well, 3 on the right side, and they have been pounding Brett Wallace in with fastballs and breaking stuff. That was a mistake on that last pitch.
On the ground, and Carter gobbles it up at first base, guarding the line, and tags the bag. Wallace out, number 1 of the 4th inning. Well, the month of May for Melvin Upton Jr. and his Padre ranks very good, leading the way in batting average, home runs, slugging percentage, on base percentage, and second in hits.
Well, with Melvin, you know that saw some good signs last year and more of a platoon in center field at the end of the year.
Skies one to right field. Santana with room. 2 down.
I think the consistency of Melvin this year, and obviously playing every day, helps that. It looks like he has a different purpose to me this year. So big home run last night. Tremendous defensive ability in left field, as you said, another center fielder in the outfield, which really has been a benefit for this defense of the Padres.
2 down in the 4th, and Christian Bethancourt. His first time up against Gary, grounded out to the shortstop, Jonathan VR. On the ground towards shortstop, VR to his left, and he's done it again. Second time he's grounded out to short. Padres down in order, trailing 1-0. Great moments in All-Star history brought to you by Geico. July 12, 1994 at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh was the 65th Midsummer Classic. Pinch hitter Fred McGriff of the Atlanta Braves came to the plate and hit a game-tying home run to tie the game 7-7. Game resulted in the National League defeating the American League 8-7 in 10 innings. Also the National League's first win since 1987.
How about the crime dog? Ended up with 2,400 hits and also 493 homers. I love the helicopter.
Absolutely.
It was unbelievable.
Pretty close to some Hall of Fame numbers.
former Padre, and then that huge deal. Great years in Atlanta, but yes, you're right. It's borderline Hall of Fame numbers.
Aaron Hill will lead off the bottom of the 4th inning for the Brewers. Rounded out to the shortstop Alexei Ramirez in the 2nd inning. 6, 7, and 8 for Milwaukee here in the bottom of the 4th. Fouled off to the right, out of play. A former first-round draft choice of the Toronto Blue Jays. Time in Toronto, north of the border, and also in Arizona. First year in Milwaukee. Two and one. Hill coming over from Arizona with a 5-player deal. January of this last offseason. Takes the strike, and it evens at 2 and 2. Hill's always enjoyed his time here. It's amazing how many guys end up with a team that they do well against in their home park here at Miller Park. He hit at .313. On the ground foul.
I think those teams are just tired of seeing Aaron Hill and those guys put up big numbers against him. You see Christian Friedrich's last start in against Fresno, working 4 2/3 innings. Chad, you know, working in the front office with the Dodgers, you know, those general managers always talk about the guys that burn them the most, and they know it. They're going to get them in that uniform.
Yeah, they see it up close and personal. Changes some things. Full count now. Hill battling, leading it off here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Swing and a miss, and he gets that one by him. A 91-mile-an-hour fastball. Second strikeout for Friedrich. 1 down.
See Christian Friedrich on that arm side, getting that fastball down, blowing it by Aaron Hill.
1 out in the 4th, and Hernan Perez flied out to right field in the 2nd inning. 0 for 1. Came off the bench in game 1 of the series. Gets a start here tonight. Game 2 of a 4-game series. Brewers and Padres from Milwaukee.
Time now for the Cholula flamethrower. Christian Friedrich, 93 miles an hour. That's pretty good hot sauce.
Respectable heat.
Respectable heat.
No heat that time, and it's 2 and 1.
Or here you can actually say respectable cheese.
So far, it's been a very good series. The Padres able to win last night's game, and tonight just giving up a run so far, but well pitched.
Yeah, they look like they're in position to strike, and obviously the pitching and the defense has come into play tonight. That's the reason why they've currently on a win streak.
And if you take a look at Friedrich tonight, I'm not sure what Andy Green expected, but so far so good.
Yeah, he looks like he's very comfortable. He's settled in. Obviously, fastball command at the beginning of his start looked like it was wavering, but getting out of that last inning had to give him some confidence.
Padres down right now 1-0, and Friedrich working here in the bottom of the 4th inning with 1 out. Grounder left side. It'll be Rosales who cuts it off, and a good, hard, accurate throw. The 2nd out of the 4th inning. Double plays were huge yesterday as part of James Shields' outing, and he actually mentioned it while he was on with us in the 3rd inning, how good the defense has been behind him, and That was certainly the case last night.
Well, you saw James Shields really being aggressive last night and relying on his defense, the intensity behind him, and tipping your cap. I think has a lot to do with Alexei Ramirez in the middle of the diamond.
Two outs for Ramon Flores. Breaking ball that picks up the outside corner, at least according to Laz Diaz. And of course, Ryan Buchter finished off last night's game. That was impressive.
Wow. And congratulated him in the locker room today and said, what was that like? Said, you know, his first pitch was 91 miles an hour. He said, you know, after that, I just started gripping, going after it.
Wow, right back at Friedrich. Almost got a face full of baseball there. It's back up the middle into center. And Flores has got a 2-out ringing single. I'll grab your attention in a hurry.
Yeah, watch your chicklets. Line drive up the box. That's scary.
So 2 down, Flores. They're held on by Wallace, and here's the pitcher, Junior Gary. You got to look out for him. He's already singled. And a grounder softly to Perel at second base. On to first for the out that ends the 4th inning. We're headed to the 5th. Milwaukee on top 1-0. Padres trailing by a run 1-0 as we play along to the 5th inning. Well, some sayings you may hear from this particular gentleman, Bob Uecker.
Yeah, it just puts a smile on your face. Bob Uecker, and spending some time here in Milwaukee. I always thought this was pretty impressive. Usually that when you get on the buses, the managers usually sit in the first seat.
Yep.
Well, here in Milwaukee when they travel, that's who sits in the front seat right there.
Awesome.
That really puts you where the totem pole is, and one of the funniest guys in the game of baseball.
Gotta love the seat they have for him here up top too. Fans have the chance. It's a statue in the Uecker seats here, and you have a chance to go up there and sit next to him. About 10 minutes before the ball game they stop it, but it is a constant line, and you get to sit next to him, take a picture. It's outstanding.
I think we should go up and take a picture.
Absolutely.
Obviously they didn't shut it down.
No, it's open right now, and this gentleman just getting out of the seat next to Bob. This one fouled off to the right.
I think we got to take a picture with him.
I'll say this, though, I'm not so sure it looks a lot like Bob. I don't know about you.
Maybe Bob Barker, but not Bob Uecker.
I've seen Bob Uecker up close, and To me, it doesn't much look like Bob Uecker. But it is.
Yeah, it looks like a strapping young buck there. I'm going to take a picture tomorrow with him. Going up there.
You got to climb all the way up there, though.
And all the way back.
Barella fouling it off to the right. He leads it off here in the top of the 5th inning. Well, a strikeout victim, the only K of the night so far for Guerra. Who managed when you were here?
Davey Lopes. I played so well that he got fired. That's what
you
really
got
happened.
Davey Lopes fired?
I always say it to Davey. Davey's one of my good friends in the game of baseball, now with the Washington Nationals as the first base coach. He was with the Dodgers last year with Dusty Baker's staff, but I always joke with him. I got him fired.
Barella off the plate and foul.
Can't say I played too well.
No?
In the city of Milwaukee when I was in a Brewers uniform. Last year of County Stadium, first year here in this brand new ballpark, which was fabulous. I think everyone in Milwaukee was so excited to get this ballpark, which it is. It's spectacular.
Hit well to center field off the bat of Barella. Back goes Flores. It'll take him to the track, but he's there. Able to make the catch. A good long running catch and a long ride provided there by Barella, but he is out number 1 of the 5th inning. That's a big area out there that kind of jets out.
And this ball had some carry on it as well. Ramon Flores put his head down and went after that. A lot of territory out there to cover. Watch that first step. You can see he puts his head down, finds out where that fence is, and makes the catch right before the warning track.
Talk to Steve Finley all the time about running to an area. This is driven to left field off the bat of Rosales. Back, and it's off the wall. Ricochet played by Braun. Rosales got to hurry up. He's going to go head first and safely into second base. Wall ball double, and he wasn't entirely sure because Braun played it very well, got it back in quickly, but Rosales got a 1-out double.
Well, you got to love this for Adam Rosales. Has his parents in town, both in Chicago and here, and for mom and dad, here you go. He blasts this over Ryan Braun. He plays it nicely off the wall. The accurate throw to Aaron Hill, sliding in safely is Rosales.
We had the chance to meet mom and dad when we were in Chicago.
Yeah, they had a big smile on their face. Obviously new grandparents recently, spending time with him on this road trip.
Pitch for a strike to Friedrich. We got some numbers for you we're going to check out here. 2001, 2002, 119 games, 241. That's not terrible. That's not below 200 or anything.
He still got fired.
But he got fired. 4 home runs, 17 RBIs.
Yeah.
Not enough.
It wasn't good. I felt a lot worse than that. A lot of swing and miss in my game.
Where were you playing primarily?
Off the bench, typically. But if I played, it was in the outfield. One of the funniest things is my first start here at the new ballpark was out in left field, and a stream of water came down. It was raining outside, obviously the roof.
Ball gets away. Rosales going to try it. He will get there. Good aggressive base running there, and a ball in the dirt. Lucroy couldn't get it to third fast enough.
Well, so important to get in scoring position, and a good read by Rosales. The head first dive into third base. That 1 out, so important to get into scoring position. Brewers are going to have the infield come in with Christian Friedrich up at the plate.
Ball and 2 strikes. Infield in. Late hack and a pitch up. 93 and not close was Friedrich. That's the second strikeout for Guerin. Brings up John Jace. You stand in left field. And water is coming from the ceiling?
Water comes straight down, and it's a heavy stream right in front of me, probably 2 feet in front of me. And I look up, and I see all kinds of water coming straight down. I said, how about this? I get a spot start, and it's raining with a roof up there.
On you. That's awesome.
It's pretty funny. I didn't get too many starts, but that was one of the strangest ones.
They build a roof for everybody but you. John Jay with a chance to tie this game. And second pitch outside. Now this has been a category that he's been pretty good at. 3 for 10 at 300. An RBI. There's the roof for everybody else.
I think they fixed the leak.
Oh, it's gone?
Yeah, it's gone.
Runners in scoring position. Nobody better right now than John Jay.
Really a simple approach, but hits to all fields. That's what's impressed me, and it works, especially with runners in scoring position.
Ball 3. They're being especially careful with Jay. Green light him.
I think you have to. Productive at bats. Why not? One pitch, one spot.
Takes it and takes a strike. 3-1. Still in a very good situation here.
Now, there's so many hitters, Don, that will decide if they are 3-0 hitters, and a lot of people just eliminate it. Don't even look down at the third base coach. There's others that want to do it all the time.
Jay's bunting at it. It's a safety squeeze down the third base line. Foul. Interesting decision there. And a full count now. You got the third baseman Perez backed up. Not a bad thought, I guess, for John Jay.
Well, with the third baseman way back, all he had to do was put it on that grass, and unfortunately for the Padres, this slides foul. Really speaks to the confidence that John Jay has, even hitting with 2 strikes.
So Rosales at third, a full count, 3-2 with 2 outs. First time tonight Padres have had a runner at third. Jay on the ground off the pitcher, kicks to Hill. He'll go to first, and the Brewers will get out of it. So Rosales cannot score. It's still 1-0 Milwaukee.
Top of the third, the first 2 runners get on, and Christian Friedrich makes a nice play on Jonathan bunt, eliminating Ryan Braun by putting him on. Bases loaded. They do a nice job of pulling in and then making a nice play at home, eliminating that run, and then the strikeout of Carter. Those were huge plays of the game to keep them with only a 1-0 lead, eliminating Ryan Braun's bat.
We'll see Braun. He'll bat third in this inning as Santana leads it off. Single to left, single to right so far for the leadoff hitter for the Brewers. He has scored a run. Breaking ball, and that'll miss. Three and 0. Friedrich has walked 3, one intentionally, struck out 2 as he works his way into the 5th inning. Now 76 pitches deep into his outing. Challenge time there. It's by him. 3-1, had the green light. Swung so hard his helmet came off. Now a foul makes it a full count as Friedrich battling back.
Santana continues to lean on that back leg and overswing.
Three-two pitch. Not close, and a leadoff walk starts the bottom of the 5th inning. There's a 4th walk given up.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details.
Lead runner on for the Brewers here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and it brings up Jonathan Villar. A walk and a sacrifice bunt, his first 2 plate appearances. Outfield straight away, infield a double play depth. Strike 1. Brewers out hitting the Padres 4-2. Brewers have stranded 5. The Padres have left 4 on. And their best opportunity to score in the top half of this inning and left Adam Rosales at third base when Jay grounded out. Quick check on Santana. Left-hander in his Padres debut, working into the 5th inning, trailing 1-0. This will get away, and up to second base goes Santana.
Christian Friedrich yanks this fastball down and in.
Runner in scoring position, nobody out. In the air, foul off to the right, out of play, evens a count at 2-2.
They ruled that pitch a pass ball on Christian Bethancourt.
Well, they took a long look at it. It took them a while to make the decision, but they did go past ball.
Yeah, I think that was a tough pitch for him to receive because it's down and in.
Jammed and a pop-up. Bethancourt Wallace. Bethancourt slides but can't catch it. Falling too fast for him to get there. Friedrich has had 1-2-3 inning on the night. That was the second inning. Longest inning of the night, the third, the 23 pitch inning.
Yeah, of that total, 45 for strikes, 38 for balls, 39 for balls, excuse me. That ball strike ratio is not very good.
Two. Full count. Ryan Braun waiting on deck. Fly out and an intentional walk so far for him tonight. Brewers have Santana at second, nobody out in the bottom of the fifth. 3-2 pitch. Fouled off again to the right. Put him away with a fastball, couldn't.
That fastball has some movement in on that glove side of Christian Friedrich. That looks like his most dominant pitch tonight. This is a big out, especially with Ryan Braun on the on-deck circle.
Check swing, did he go? No, says Manny Gonzalez, first base umpire. Back-to-back walks allowed by Friedrich, and that's now 5 walks allowed by the left-hander.
Well, let's see if he goes. I thought it was pretty close. Well, he holds up, you can see.
So a big spot here for Ryan Braun. 2 on, nobody out. And Braun gets his 3rd plate appearance of the night. 444 in this spot on the year. To left, in comes Upton. He'll get there. First out, and it's a big one as they get Ryan Braun. Jonathan Lucroy will be next. Action for the first time tonight. Carlos Villanueva, guy who can give you multiple innings up in the pen. And you have the curious situation tomorrow of a bullpen game for the Padres in Game 3 of the series, with the announcement that Cashner will not make the start tomorrow and will be placed in the DL. And you got to figure Carlos Villanueva, one of the guys, to be considered for that start, at least to begin the game.
Yeah, and I think if he gets into this game tonight, you can change that plan.
Fly ball, right center field. Jay and Kemp. And it's going to be Kemp who makes the catch. Tagging at second, moving to third is Santana. He'll get there. But now with 2 outs. And Kemp just stepping in front of Jay out there in right center. 2 down. Send it down to Julie.
Hey guys, well, you were just talking about Villanueva warming up, and you know these guys got to be really careful about maneuvering regarding the bullpen today. Doug Bachler tell me that he's monitoring the back end of the pen guys like Buchter and Mauer because they went yesterday, but he also wants to be mindful of arms from Villanueva, Perdomo, and Brad Hand, because as you said, Don, it is a possibility that they may string together a start using those guys in place of Andrew Cashner. So available today would be Quackenbush and Rodney. As he said, it is the key to make it to Monday. That Monday off day that's coming up on the horizon, he said if we can just make it to Monday, we'll be okay.
Thanks, Julie. 2 down, 1st and 3rd. And Chris Carter, the batter, has been up in some big spots. And a grounder here, left side is short. Ramirez to second for the force out. That gets Friedrich and the Padres out of the jam. Works his way around 2 walks in the inning. Padres baseball brought to you by Sequan Casino. Sign up for the new Padres Club card today. By Jack in the Box, taste the Baconlicious Sourdough Bacon Ranch Combo. And by Mercury Insurance. We're on a mission to save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com today. Back in Milwaukee. It's game 2, 4-game series. It's a fun game so far, and the Padres getting out of some jams in a big way. Good defense, good pitching, and it's another tight one. 1-0 into the 6th inning.
Time to put up some crooked numbers here.
2, 3, and 4 for San Diego. Now is as good a time as any. Alexei Ramirez 0 for 2 in the game. Swings at the first pitch and skies one to short left. VR out, in is Braun, and it's Ryan Braun for the first out. This is Friday the 13th. Some people get freaked out by this. Some people get freaked out by the number 13 in general, but these guys don't. 13 active players wearing the number 13.
How about you?
It doesn't bother me.
Doesn't
bother me. You?
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I mean, it's a number. It's really all you're dealing with. But yeah, Friday the 13th.
I'm okay. Nothing crazy's happened so far. But it's early.
Wait till you get back to the hotel. Something's going to happen. And I might be a part of that.
Yeah, it could be.
Maybe I'll change your thinking about 13.
I don't get it. I mean,
I don't see it either.
Other than the movie, Friday the 13th, I mean, there's really nothing, as long as you don't go camping,
near a bloody knife.
By the lake, you're all set.
In a hockey mask.
Exactly.
With blood on it, there's nothing wrong with it.
Jason Voorhees rolls around, you got problems.
I'm calling overrated on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Until tonight.
Kemp will ground one foul.
What if I knocked on your door tonight with a hockey mask on?
Absolutely.
Remember
Freak
Jerry
out.
Cheevers? Jerry Cheevers used to wear that. Old-time Boston Bruin.
I would freak out if you did that. I'd be in the fetal position in the corner. Go away.
Someone get me a hockey mask.
Nobody's home.
While I wait.
The 1-2 is line foul. There are some who say you look like Vanilla Ice. And it's on right now here at the ballpark. Is it true?
I don't know if it's true.
Take a look. Take a look. Take a look.
Seriously.
It's this area in here.
Not here.
No,
not
no.
my
Get rid of that. You put a hat on you.
Not my 5
You're
head.
ice baby. Kev strikes out. There's 2 down.
Oh,
Good time
man.
to check in with Julie. Get out of the booth, Julie.
I love lookalikes.
All right, well, speaking of Friday the 13th, you guys, first of all, I'm glad it doesn't bother you, but there is an estimated 21 million Americans who have a huge fear of Friday the 13th, also known as, get this, let me see if I can do it, paraskevidekatriophobia.
Wow.
Wow.
That is what it is called. That is a fear of Friday the 13th. 21 million Americans fear it. Paraskevidekatriophobia. Say it
That's
3 times fast.
unbelievable.
I am
Julie.
more impressed by the fact that you can say that.
Yes.
There's that many people who are upset about it.
Paraskevidekatriophobia. Boom.
Awesome.
That's tremendous, Julie. There's going to be a 1 added after tonight when I get that hockey mask.
Oh, my. 2 down. Brett Wallace takes the strike, a high strike at that. Shifting on the right side are the Brewers. Wild swing and a miss. Ball has come out on the field in the bullpen area, so over to handle that, Santana, and right flips it up into the seats. Wallace a walk and a ground out to first base. First 2 at bats against Guerra on the night. Swing and a miss. Wallace strikes out. 4 strikeouts for Guerra. To the bottom of the 6th we go. 1-0 Brewers. All right, Mike, thanks very much. Last of the 6th inning, Aaron Hill takes a curveball for strike 1. Hill has grounded out to short, struck out swinging. It's the third time in the game that he has led off an inning. Friedrich getting into the 6th inning. 92 pitches right now as he begins this 6th inning.
Well, Andy Green did say before the game that they could extend him just a little bit. I think right around that 100 mark would probably be that limit.
You think about the day-night doubleheader and what kind of damage it does to your pen and your pitching staff.
Yeah, you think about this is probably the time of first-year manager Andy Green where he is just scratching his head, obviously dealing with injuries, but manipulating a pitching staff.
And managing the bullpen is such a big part of that.
I think that's the #1 key if you're going through an interview process. How you handle the bullpen is really how you're indicated and how you're judged as a manager at the big league level. To think about it, and Julie said it, they are dying just to get to that off day so they can give everyone a rest. Kevin Quackenbush sitting there, he's going to be a part of that, but just grinding it out and wanting to take the ball, and the importance of these starters to get deeper in the ballgame.
How much do you think Darren Balsley is a part of managing that pen?
Yeah, that constant communication. Carlos Villanueva and Fernando Rodney.
Grounded foul, still 1-2.
But it is. I think they're constant communicating, and obviously it's not just in game, which you have to adjust. You adjust your thought process coming into it. You have to handle that, and Andy Green understands that's the most important thing. Brad Hand, we've even heard his name, possibility of starting tomorrow, but this is about tonight, and that's what Andy Green really believes in.
Win tonight, worry about tomorrow. 1-2 is fouled off to the right out of play. Yeah, asked about who's starting tomorrow. He said we'll find out after tonight.
Yep.
See what happens. May not even be somebody that's here right now. Who knows?
Wonder how they have to do it. Obviously a 25-man roster at the big league level, but handling that 40-man roster position if you go a different direction. Someone that's in the minor leagues that's available to start tomorrow might have to be added to the roster. How you do that is you have to take somebody off.
Michael Blazek up in the pen right now for the Brewers, and a pop-up here, foul, back and out of play. Next pitch will be the 9th pitch of the at-bat. For Aaron Hill battling here to begin things in the bottom of the 6th inning. Ball 3. 5 walks allowed by Friedrich. In fact, he walked back-to-back hitters to begin the 5th, but worked his way around it. Tough way to live, though. Does not want to walk Hill to begin things here in the 6th. But he will. So down to first base goes Hill, walking to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. The Padres winners of 3 straight, getting back within the 500 mark at 16-20. And with the West really all bunched up, even 4 games under 500, just 2.5 games back, the Dodgers and Giants.
Well, with the struggle to start with Andy Green and this ball club, they have grinded it out, and you could see the bunching in this West division really has them sitting in pretty good position.
Hernan Perez with a runner at first will ground one down the third baseline foul. It's fly to right, grounded out to third base, 0 for 2. Bunt bid, and it's fouled back. Got a piece of the umpire, Las Diaz.
See the bunt attempt. Ricochets right underneath Christian Bethancourt. Catches home plate umpire Las Diaz.
Oh, 2 pitch to Perez. Outside for ball 1, 1-2.
You're starting to see the command waver for Christian Friedrich. Wonder how long you can extend him. Carlos Villanueva set in the Padres bullpen.
Hill with a short lead at first base. Friedrich looking right out. And a swing and a miss. Blew it by Perez. Good time to pick up his 3rd K. It's a first out at the bottom of the 6th inning.
Well, the fastball inside on that glove side has been the best for Christian Friedrich, getting the punch out. Tonight, catching all new Padres POV presented by Saquon Casino, followed by the Loose Cannons of Extra 1360 Fox Sports San Diego. Coming up tonight after Padres Live.
1 on, 1 out, and it brings up Ramon Flores. 1 for 2 in the ball game as he swings away and fouls it off. Colin Walsh has come out on deck to bat in the pitcher's spot here for the Brewers as they continue to bat in the bottom of the 6th inning. 0-1. Guerra through the first 6 innings, 83 pitches. Pretty good shape in that regard, but apparently looking for some offense here in the inning.
Well, they're also looking for wins and W's, and they probably think that best way to get that is going to their bullpen.
Foul back, 1-2. They are extending here. Friedrich in 92 pitches last time out in El Paso. 107 pitches here in his first start this year in the majors.
I think this is his last hitter no matter what.
Walk and a strikeout to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. Flores with a count of 2-2. On the ground right side, and Perella laying it out from his knees. Throws to first for the out. Nice play by Perella. On to second goes Hill. That had right field written all over it, but he's able to trap it and then from his knees make the throw. 2 down.
Well, Jose Perella was playing Flores up the middle and going to his left. What an athletic play and a big out for the Padres. This defense has been spectacular.
Eddie Green out there. And it almost has a look of, are you okay? Let me get a feel for whether or not you get one more guy. He's got Villanueva ready to go, but I think he wants to look into the eyes of his starter, see what he's got.
Yeah, and you see him having a energized conversation, giving him a breather, and also knowing how they're going to attack Walsh.
Pinch hitter Colin Walsh batting in the spot of Junior Guerra. Tonight only gave up 2 hits in 6 innings. No runs. Walked 2, struck out 4. .098 average for Walsh, 31st game. Pinch hitting with 2 outs and Aaron Hill at second base. There's a strike, and it's a ball and a strike. Wonder how much that tank is on empty right now for Friedrich.
Yeah, I think this is all grit.
Corner, and it's 1-2.
And that looked like a changeup out of the hands of Friedrich. Haven't seen too many of those.
Center fielder Jay over to right center. Good gap in left center. And Bethancourt calls time. See the changeup.
Well, after the second pitch, the fastball on the outside corner backs it up with that changeup. Bethancourt sticks it on the outside part.
In the dirt, Bethancourt sprawling to his left blocks that. He's been doing a very good job of that. Better than what I think we saw in spring training.
Yeah, you got to really credit Justin Hatcher, the catching instructor on this coaching staff. They have done a really nice job getting Christian Bethancourt prepared for these games. Not only calling a game, but receiving as well. They're going back to the fastball away.
Now Bethancourt's going to go out and talk to Friedrich.
Well, I like this. I want to be on the same page, and one of the biggest pitches of the night.
Next pitch, 114 for Friedrich with 2 outs and a runner at second, and it's outside. Full count to Walsh. Laboring right now is Friedrich. Walsh will foul it off to the right out of play. Battle continues. .25 pitch, 6th inning.
That's a heavy workload, and especially that 6th inning. A lot of it is because of the foul balls off the Brewers' bats.
Walsh strikes out, and Friedrich impressive in his debut of the Padres. The grit, the determination through 6 innings. It's 1-0 Brewers. 16 pitches for Friedrich in this game. New career high for him. Previous high had been 113.
Well, stressful innings. He looked very comfortable. He pitched some tough innings, made some pitches when he wanted to, and when he had to, and also defensively having the backing behind Christian Friedrich. A lot of grit and determination tonight. That's a nice night in the big leagues.
Part of the In the Driver's Seat brought to you by Kia, and a very nice outing for him in his Padres debut as you look at the numbers. It's into the 7th inning and the Padres trailing by a run. Melvin Upton Jr., Christian Bethancourt, Jose Perella facing the new pitcher Michael Blazek, and swing and a miss for strike one. Pitching change brought to you by El Cajon Ford. And 17th game for Blazek.
See the splits, and the righties have more success against than the lefties.
On the corner, maybe.
Oh, wow. Melvin Upton Jr. is looking back at home plate umpire Laz Diaz. The way he's seeing the ball, he knows that's off. Fox Tracks had it off as well.
Blazek coming over from the Cardinals and the John Axford deal, 2013, bounces that in. A fractured right hand last year in August. Was placed on the DL for the rest of the year. Working out of the pen, and first out of the pen for Craig Counsell in this game. After Junior Guerra had 6 shutout innings. Only threw 83 pitches, but they pinch hit for him last inning.
Yeah, that was actually pretty surprising. As you can see the reason why they got Blazek. He has been unscored upon in 12 of his 16 appearances this season.
Thought about it. Did he go? No. They checked with Manny Gonzalez. Full count now. The leadoff hitter here in the top of the 7th inning.
Let's see if he went. No, he did not. Bought himself another pitch.
In the air to right field. Struck pretty well down the line towards the corner. Santana will go into a slide. And unable to make the catch down that right field line and foul ground.
Not much room down in right field, so as a right fielder you have to slide to prevent crashing into that wall. See Santana going that way and sliding to protect himself, not even trying to catch that ball.
Melvin Upton has grounded out to third base, flied out to Santana and right, 0 for 2. 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, struck him out. Blazek gets his first strikeout, first out of the 7th inning.
Well, after fouling off a fastball, he gets a slider right over the middle of the plate.
One out, and here is Bethancourt, who is 0 for 2 tonight. He has done the same thing twice. He's ground out to the shortstop, Jonathan Villar. Did it in the 2nd, did it in the 4th, and Villar up to the task on both occasions. Fooled badly, and it's 0-2. He was guessing something else. Another big home run for him at Wrigley Field in Chicago off John Lackey, who did not appreciate the fact that he admired it, but it was a towering blast and it gave the Padres the win.
Well, he admired it because he hit it practically halfway to Milwaukee. It was a bomb.
Lackey took exception.
Yeah, I didn't get that. Tight game and big moment for Christian Bethancourt. He walked on it a couple steps, and then he started running.
1-2 pitch. Get the feeling if that was an established veteran, Matt Kemp, Melvin Upton Jr., you probably don't get that reaction.
I don't think he would have said anything. I think he was frustrated that he hung the pitch.
He went and strikes out. It's back-to-back Ks. Padres having trouble with Blazek here. 2 down.
Yeah, and they're having trouble with that slider. Let's see if Bethancourt does go. As Diaz sees that barrel go past the plate, rings him up.
2 down, both by way of the K. And here is Jose Pirela. Struck out swinging in the second, flied out to the warning track in center in the 5th. Pretty good charge into it last time. Bouncing in, 1-1. Is that the mascot?
That's Hank the dog, but that might be what I'd knock on your door tonight. End up wearing that.
Absolutely freaked me out.
If I can't get the hockey mask, I'm going with Hank's.
So I thought Bernie Brewer was all they had going on, but they have Hank the dog too, huh?
They have Hank the dog.
Are there others?
I don't know. I haven't checked around. Got to have a mascot too. Hank the dog.
2 outs, bases empty, and a 2-2 pitch coming up. Lined and by the first baseman Carter into right field. Hot shot off the bat of Pirela, a wide turn, and he'll retrace his steps back to first. 2 down and a base hit for Jose Pirela.
Well, back-to-back great at bats by Jose Pirela. 2-strike hitting. He gets on that fastball and gets on top of the cheese. That's a really aggressive swing by Pirela.
Just the 3rd Padres hit of the night. And it comes here in the 7th inning. Here's Adam Rosales, the only Padre to reach 3rd base in this game. He was left at 3rd in the 5th inning. Pirela back to the bag. Throw to first. Pirela leaning the wrong way, but he's able to get back. He appeared to be headed towards second.
And you see that movement going towards second base.
Just a flinch. There he goes. Rosales will take a pitch for a strike. Throws good. He's out. Got him on the way by it at Aaron Hill. Throw from Lucroy. Pirela gunned down. The caught stealing. 7th inning stretch from Milwaukee. The Brewers have a 1-0 lead. the only run of this contest. Sac fly to left field. Throw out at third, but the run gets in, and the Brewers have the game's only run. Another opportunity for the Brewers, and getting out of a couple of different jams was Friedrich in this game. They would walk Braun after the sacrifice bunt. Good play by Rosales coming home for the second out of that inning. Friedrich working his way out of a few jams, and it's on to the bottom of the 7th inning. Carlos Villanueva was up a couple of different times. He is now into this game, his 14th appearance of the year.
Last outing was the first game in Chicago of the doubleheader, where he worked an inning, giving up a hit and a walk.
Santana leads it off and takes strike one. Some changes as part of the double switch. Wallace now at third base. Myers at first. Rosales has moved from third to second. Swing and a miss for Santana. Barella comes out of the game as part of the switch. There's Rosales. Goes from third to second base. And Villanueva is the new pitcher, ahead 0-2. Friedrich tonight, 116 pitches in his 6-inning effort.
Well, that is a career high for Christian Friedrich, and you got to be pretty pleased of the effort that he gave.
4 hits, the 1 run. He did walk 6 and struck out 4. I think if you asked Andy Green before the game if Friedrich gives you 6 with 1 run, you feel good about that? I bet he'd say yes.
Definitely would say yes. Now it's the Padres.
Strike 3 call. Good pitch. Villanueva strikes out Santana, and Santana didn't like it. Says some stuff to Laz Diaz on the way by.
A perfect pitch at the top of the strike zone.
One out, Jonathan Villar. Walk, the sacrifice bunt, another walk. It's been on twice. Always the chance of a bunt from Villar. Well aware of that as Brett Wallace in on the grass at third. Myers playing shallow at first.
There's Wallace pinched on the grass.
Does show bunt, runs up, but takes a pitch for a ball. 1-1. Brewers getting their run in the first, and that's been it. Down the left field line, Upton on the move, but that'll be a foul ball just beyond the tarp. Trying to find a youngster, and he finally did.
Tried that comebacker, that 2-seam fastball to the left-hander. Different looks by Villanueva, added subtracting on all pitches. See if he goes back to that breaking ball away.
Sharply hit into center field. 1-out single for Villar. He's got speed and he'll be trying to get to second base quickly. As we get to the later portions of this game, let's take a look what Andy Green has available to him. Will Myers coming into the game, and I wonder about the availability of Derek Norris, certainly wanting to stay away from him. Villanueva first out of that pen.
Yeah, and you knew Will Myers was going to be inserted in this game. Obviously not getting the start tonight, but trying to impact that game in the double switch. He will be hitting second behind Rosales, leading off the 8th.
Here's Braun with 1 out, and Villar at first base. Villanueva, who got the win in game 1 of the day-night doubleheader in Chicago, earned his 50th win of his career in that game. Ron has fly to right, walked intentionally, and flied out to left. Riding a 12-game hitting streak coming in. 431 along the way. Does not have a hit tonight. Fouled off to the right, and it's 1-1.
See Ryan Braun talking to himself. He likes the ball elevated. But that's at the top of the strike zone. There's available position players and pitchers for the Milwaukee Brewers. Plenty of guys in reserve.
And a lot of baseball left with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. They'll check it first, and that was close, but back to the bag is VR.
A quick feat by Villanueva.
There goes VR. The throw from the knees for Bethencourt, and it's in time. Caught him stealing. Rosales on the tag. You see the Brewers are going to challenge this. VR wants him to. Murphy on the phone. We'll see.
Well, this is like Benito Santiago. The curveball goes to his knees and throws a bullet to second. That's pretty close. I actually think he got in there. Wondering if he got on that elbow before he touched second base.
Challenge is on.
Shown on the big screen, but what a throw by Christian Bethencourt. I didn't think he had an opportunity. The breaking ball by Villanueva. Here's a better look. You see him coming down and wondering if he tagged him before he got to the bag.
Tough to tell. Call on the field is out. Is there enough there to overturn it, I guess, is the question. So with 1 out, VR trying to steal second base. Now the challenge is on. They're taking a good long look. We're seeing it again here at the stadium, and it's hard to tell if Rosales got that elbow or not.
When you think about it from Craig Counsell's position, why not? Why not challenge it in this situation? Two outs, you got your best hitter at the plate.
They are ready, and he's out still. So a caught stealing. Crowd does not like it at all. I just don't know there was enough to overturn it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I think if they had gone the other way and said he was safe, I don't think they would have overturned that.
Well, with Craig Counsell, 7 challenges on the year, 4 and 3 on those challenges. 4 successful ones.
So for Bethencourt, gunning down VR, base is now empty for Braun. Been waiting for the challenge. Count of 2-1. Half-hearted swing, changed his mind in the middle.
Oh, incredible slider by Villanueva.
Swing and a miss, and Villanueva strikes out. Braun ends the inning. We're headed to the 8th, and a tight one from Milwaukee. Brewers have a 1-0 lead. All right, Mike, thanks very much. As Tyler Thornburg comes in here now for the Brewers in the 8th.
And he's been excellent out of the Brewer bullpen. And Clay talked about that bullpen, but Tyler Thornburg has been excellent. Strikeouts per 9 innings up over 14. He has the best rate in the National League.
Work to do for the Padres, trailing by a run as they come to bat in the 8th. Rosales, Myers, and Jay. Anybody gets on, Alexei Ramirez will have a chance. Saw Thornburg last night. Takes over for Blazek, who went an inning, shutout inning with a pair of strikeouts. Off balance swing for Rosales. Been on twice, a walk and a double. Strike 2.
Well, watching the inning of work for Thornburg last night, likes to pitch backwards, that breaking ball early, and then he's very proud of that fastball that has late life.
Rosales, the only Padre to reach third base in this game. Line caught. Second base by Hill, positioned perfectly in the defensive alignment for the first out of the 8th. Time now for the San Diego fan of the game. Let's get the Brown going here in Milwaukee.
What can Brown do for you? Sweet lid. That's signed too. Is that your autograph?
I don't think so. No.
I don't see Don in that.
No. One out for Myers. Came off the bench as part of the double switch, took over at first base last inning. Now batting for the first time tonight. He's into his 37th game of a possible 37. And ahead 2-1. Myers now, Jay next. Padres batting in the top of the 8th.
I'd like to see one of those right center bombs right here.
He was geared up for it. Couldn't get the 94-mile-an-hour fastball. I was thinking along the lines you were.
I've seen him power the baseball to right center, especially at home at Petco Park.
Strike 3 call. Maybe. Appeared to be outside. Myers takes with him the second K for Thornburg. 2 down.
This pitch looked like off the plate. Well, Myers thought it was too as he goes back. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the San Diego Padres. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game might not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
2 down in the 8th. Top of the Padres order. John Jay gets his 4th AB of the game. Pitched on an error in the 1st, single to right in the 3rd, and then grounded out in the 5th. Strike 2. 95 from Thornburg. On the ground to Hill at second base. On to first. And it's a 1-2-3-8 inning for Tyler at Thornburg. On to the bottom of the 8th. 1-0 Milwaukee.
Off and on. Never really learned by book or anything like that. Just kept listening to music, playing, and caught a hold of it.
What, in your opinion, makes a good walk-up song?
I don't know, a good beat.
Rhythm.
Whatever it is that gets you going. I think it's just getting you into the right mindset before you got to go up and do your job.
It's kind of interesting to kind of see what everybody likes. You really get to see the personality of players, which is really cool on my standpoint.
That was a sneak peek of tonight's all-new Padres POV presented by Saquon Casino on Fox Sports San Diego.
Jonathan Lucroy leading it off here in the last of the 8th inning for Milwaukee. Villanueva's back out there again, and the strike makes it 1-1. Second inning of relief for the Padres right-hander.
Jeremy Jeffries is warming up, the closer.
Grounder left side, deep in the hole. It's short. Ramirez long throw, and no chance. Myers pulled off the bag, and Lucroy's on at first base to begin the bottom of the 8th.
Well, Ramirez had to go a long way to his right. You can see right in that hole and trying to get it off quick. Pulls Will Myers off the base.
Infield hit, 6th hit of the game now for Milwaukee. The lead runner on, it's Chris Carter. Carter with a sac fly in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd, grounded into a fielder's choice in the 5th. So for 2, picking up his 23rd RBI of the year. Friedrich started the game tonight for the Padres. 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. Walked 6, struck out 4, career high. 116 pitches in those 6 innings. Changed up, and it's 1-2. Padres have been unable to do anything with Junior Guerra, Michael Blazek, or Tyler Thornburg to this point. Brewers pitching stymieing the Padres. Andy Green got about as much as he possibly could have out of Christian Friedrich tonight.
End up emptying the tank on Christian Friedrich, and that opportunity to snatch a win back from this Brew Crew.
In the dirt, Bethancourt sliding to his right. It's a full count now.
And he continues to work back there. The ball's in the dirt. Continuing to get better. You see this slider, which is very difficult, shifting his body in the glove work.
On the ground left side, Ramirez quickly to second for 1, on to first. That's 2. Double play from 6 to 4 to 3. 2 down in the 8th. Carter, no doubt a double play possibility, and Padres turning one quickly on him right here.
I see Ramirez with a great feed to Rosales, and Rosales got a cannon. Nice turn in the middle of the diamond by the Padres.
2 outs and Aaron Hill. Our game presented in HD by Sony. From Miller Park in Milwaukee, game 2 of the 4-game series between the Padres and Brewers. Hill fouls that off himself painfully and evens the count at 1-1. Just a little stroll up the first baseline. Jeremy Jeffries will be coming on for the top of the 9th inning in search of his 9th save of the year. Ramirez, Kemp, and Wallace expected him to get on. Melvin Upton Jr. will have a chance. Hill lines one towards left center. Jay on the run is not going to get there. It's by him. Upton will run it down, but still running is Hill. And he'll pull it up at second base with a 2-out double here in the 8th. Jay laid it out, couldn't get it, and Upton had to go run it down back by the wall.
Well, Aaron Hill got out in front of this one and looked like the ball just kept on hooking towards that left field area. John Jay on his horse and a good diving attempt. But knowing Melvin Upton Jr. is backing that dive up, that's a nice effort by the center fielder.
Comes Darren Balsley.
Scooter Gennett was 2 for 3 in the ball game last night, 2 singles and a walk.
Well, the double there for Hill, the first extra base hit in the series for Milwaukee. 14 single base hits at that point prior to the double here by Hill here in the 8th with 2 down. Gennett, the batter, from the left side. Fouled back for strike 1. Runs, 7 hits, an error. Brewers have left 8. No runs, 3 hits, no errors. Padres have left 4. Milwaukee looking to obtain some insurance here in their half of the 8th. Gennett takes the high strike and is down 0-2.
He's pitched very effectively at the top of the strike zone. See Melvin Upton Jr. in left field. The outfielder's mentality is they cut that run down as much as possible. They don't want him to extend this lead.
One and 2. 30 pitches so far for Villanueva through an inning and 2/3. Nobody warming behind him in the Padres pen.
Villanueva's give him different looks. Slider in first pitch and 2 fastballs elevated. See if he goes to the changeup.
They did and missed. 2 and 2. Hill hanging out around second base as Bethencourt out to talk to Villanueva.
The guy on second base, you might be going over it where you don't have to put a sign down. You want that guy on second base relaying location or the pitch. Two count. They probably already know what they're going to.
Gennett cranks it foul. He's out ahead of that by a lot. Battle continues. Scooter Gennett facing Carlos Villanueva. Game in the balance right now. Brewers trying to add on here in the last of the 8th inning with Hill at second base.
See if they go soft away.
Strike 3. Gennett frozen, and Villanueva gets out of the jam. Preserves a 1-run deficit for the Padres as we head to the 9th. Jeffries will be in search of his 9th save. Local San Diego area Infinity retailer for a test drive today. By Petco, your complete pet store. And by Tough Turtle Turf, the industry's only lifetime turf. Back at Miller Park in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, game 2 of the 4-game series between the Padres and the Brewers. And Jeremy Jeffress on here now for the Brewers.
Perfect in save opportunities, 8 for 8. Came into this year with only 1 career save. He has been outstanding out of the Brewers' pen. Last year, strikeout an inning in 67 innings of work.
So Alexei Ramirez, Matt Kemp, Brett Wallace, anybody gets on, Melvin Upton. Aaron Hill moving from second base to third base. Scooter Gennett stays in the game at second. After he pinch hit and struck out, Villanueva getting him to end the bottom of the 8th and keep this a 1-run game.
Opponents are hitting .294 off Jeffress. 1 home run he has given up as well.
Ramirez hitting up in the order, second in this game. There's a look at 95 and in. Matt Kemp waiting on deck. This part of the order, 2, 3, and 4 collectively 0 for 8 in the game. And another foul. A visit from Lucroy out to the mound to Jeffress. Guerra went 6 shutout innings. Lasik a shutout inning. Thornburg a shutout inning. Padres have had 1 base runner reach third. Adam Rosales back in the 5th inning. Alexei hits it on the ground to Villar. It's short, a bobble, and Ramirez will reach. Good start to the top of the 9th for the Padres. Villar boots it at shortstop.
Well, what a huge play for the San Diego Padres to start off this 9th. That's a difference of winning ball games at the big league level. You got to catch the baseball. Padres have to capitalize.
Lead runner on is Ramirez, and here's Matt Kemp. Kemp tonight is lined out to left, flied out to center, struck out swinging. Ball 1. Outfield straight away and very deep. All the way around here on Kemp. This is what we qualify as the no doubles defense.
Well, he knows that he has to go the opposite way. They're going to try to pitch him tight with that fastball.
Dribbles it down the third baseline, foul.
You see that 2-seamer. He's had a lot of success.
Shifting on Kemp on the left side. Jeffress and Kemp head to head in the battle here with nobody out. Runner at first in the 9th. Kemp with a ground ball to short. Villar to second for 1, on to first for 2. He atones very quickly for the miscue, and that's a double play. 2 down in the 9th.
Well, let's see how they pitch to Matt Kemp. The first pitch is give him a look, that off-speed pitch away, and then they start pounding him in with that 2-seam fastball and pitching to that shift. Executing the pitch and the double play by Matt Kemp.
Some trouble with lefties for Jeffress. Padres hoping they continue. as Wallace stands in on the left side with 2 down the ninth. Strike one. Quackenbush in case. Foul back, and it's 0-2.
Coming right at him. Back-to-back fastballs to Wallace.
They're standing in Milwaukee with 2 outs and 2 strikes on Brett Wallace. Check swing, did he go? No. Jeff Nelson says he did not.
After those 2 fastballs, he goes to the slider and he holds up. Might have bought himself another fastball.
Hoping to get a chance. Melvin Upton Jr. on down. But it'll take something from Brett Wallace with 2 outs in the ninth. Jeffress with a 1-2. He struck him out. And the Brewers shut out the Padres and end their 3-game winning streak. Save number 9 for Jeffress. A Milwaukee win, a Padres loss. Mike Pomerantz, what do you